my dreams
For Valentine's Day, you know, like a date night on Valentine's Day, I want it to be real sexy, and I want it to start off like, you know, a whole bunch of foreplay and very intimate. So to start, I probably would get my bedroom candy body chocolate. We call it chocolate body paint. We actually, when you buy these, we have little paint brushes with it. But you warm this up. It's called just dessert. That's what we call it. But you warm it up. It's body chocolate paint. But it's edible, of course. And so I just would paint my name on my husband's body, or whoever you're with, whoever your lover is. You paint your name on him and you lick it off. And that's a great way to start any evening. Or no. I stopped. I messed up. See, we're supposed to start before we even get home, right? So when the date starts, fellas, you need to buy this for your girl. It's called Control Me. So this little thing right here, it sits in the pocket of a woman's panties. And this is the remote. So your lover gets to keep the remote, and while you're out, he gets to randomly turn it on. So let's just say we're sitting there for dinner and he hits this button and you feel the vibration and you're so turned on, but you have to try to keep your face so people don't know what's going on, and then he can just stop it at any moment. Then let's say, you know, we're out going dancing, or, you know, at the club where you're partying or whatever. He hits the button and he's turning you on, literally. This one here, ladies or fellas, whoever, you have to buy this for your man. And I know it sounds crazy, but let me tell you what you do with it. We call it the helping hand, right? And basically, it has a hole there. It also has a hole here. But, you know, if you choose, you know, you can use a little bit of our Delicious Encounters. It's one of our bedroom Kandi Lubricants. It's vegan friendly. We have all the ingredients on the package. But, put a little of this in there, and then you put it on him, basically, and it feels awesome. Obviously, you give him a helping hand, or he can give himself a helping hand, whichever one you choose. And then sometimes, I mean, if you really want to help, you can put your mouth on the other end, depending on how big he is, of course. I like, personally, the Candy Kisses, the best gift ever. All women should have these. Everybody. Because it's like, it's very discreet. You can throw it in your purse if you want to. Nobody would know what it is. You can sit it out on your counter. Even if you were a parent, your kids could come in and they wouldn't know what it was, you know? It's USB rechargeable, by the way. We've won awards for this. It's an award-winning product. But when I tell you it has so many different settings, it's amazing. Amazing. Okay, one thing that you can use that is in your house every day that you can spice up your bedroom with is either a peach or a pineapple. Okay, so basically, let's say a pineapple, because we don't know if they're very small or very large, so we'll just use a pineapple for instance. You cut the top off and you cut the bottom off, and cut off all the spikes or whatever. You cut a circle in the middle. You warm it up, not too hot. You warm it up, and then you can use it just like the helping hand on your mate, but it's gonna be sweet when you give him oral pleasure. Okay, so basically you're taking the pineapple and you are giving him oral at the same time. Yeah, it's awesome. You know, it's so crazy because when you get to be a parent, sometimes it's like the sex life goes downhill because it's like you're so busy trying to be a great parent, great mom, and then it's like all of a sudden you act like everything is like, no, I can't do this, I can't. It's like, well, how do you think the kid got here? You was doing that. Like, come on, so keep it going. You have to keep it going to keep the relationship going and keep the relationship spicy. your baby is your baby, but so is the person you love, you know? So you just have to remember, you got to give them the same amount of attention, the same amount of love. So as soon as the kid goes to sleep, you got to make plans to get busy. You can't just go to bed. I'm a firm believer that you need to have a talk with your kids early about sex, because nowadays the kids are getting it in very early, and if you don't have that conversation with them, they will learn from their friends. And I don't want my daughter learning anything from her friends. Like, I want her to have the knowledge about, whatever, sex, anything, as far as not about, details of, oh, do this and do that. I'm not telling her that. But, I just want to have a real conversation to say, hey, when the hormones go crazy and, guys are going to try you. And, that's something that you need to keep for yourself. And then, I had to have a conversation with one of her friends because, they were getting a little curious, to say that. And I had to say, hey, you're young. You don't want to graduate from high school and your list is long, okay? Because later on in life, you're going to probably run into this person later and be like, oh, I wish I never had touched you, So you don't want, to have this long list of people that you've hooked up with later on in life, not knowing that the decisions you're making as, a teenager or whatever it's going to affect you later. And talk about, just because you're a teenager, you got to realize they do have sexually transmitted diseases. It's all kind of different things that could go wrong. So I know I talked a lot about if you're in a relationship, what you can do to please each other, but I am pro pleasing yourself, okay? So let me start off with this one. This is one of my favorites, and I know it's not huge or anything. Okay, let's be clear. I know some women are like, I need a huge one or whatever. We have those. We do have those at Bedroom Candy. But my mom used to have this saying, I'd rather be tickled than stabbed. Okay, I don't want to be tickled in all times, but when I'm by myself, it's okay. So this is what we call Cuddle, and it has a curve to it, and then it has this little tip right here. So it's just bomb, okay? It's wonderful. It feels great, and then you're able to hit that energy G-spot. Now, it also has lots of different speeds. So I'm telling you, it can get you there. But then another one that I like that I don't have with me, we call Turbo, and it's a little bit thicker, and it's stronger. The vibrations are very strong, and I love it. How about we just pull out the little catalog here, and I can tell you exactly which one that is. Okay. Well, we have one called Booty Call. I mean, that's pretty out there, but it's called Booty Call, and it's, just for you to explore the back door. Yeah, and then we have Step by Step, which is it's anal beats, but it's all connected. So basically, you go from small to a little medium to larger. So the more you open up, the further you can go. Being a woman, period, I feel like you need to know your body and you need to know how to please yourself. It's crazy, but a lot of people don't realize this. A majority of women have never even experienced an orgasm. And, sometimes you'll have women, they're afraid to say it out loud. They always wonder, they're having sex with, their man or whoever, and they're never really experiencing that feeling that they always hear about, and they're wondering, well, what is wrong with me? Why, And that's because, sometimes you just have to learn your own body to be able to tell the person that you're with, how to please you, And so let's start off with the clitoral stimulation, okay? That normally can get anyone, as far as women, there. Something like this can really help. It's cute, it's fun. It's called Bunny, you'll love it. Excuse me, I'm sorry. That's our other one. We have another one called Bunny, you'll love it. This one is called Hip Hop. But I love these two, the little bunny ears, the vibration is wonderful. But it's very strong, but some people want something that is not as strong as far as stimulating the clitoris. But that love button, you gotta learn how to please it. Ladies, you gotta learn it. It's important. I just can't stress how important enough for a woman to learn her own body. I don't know why some women have a problem with touching themselves. And you know, you have to loosen up. And maybe sometimes you need to try it by yourself before you're able to open up and loosen up with your lover.